Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Humanitarian Transformation Network by Candace, where I discuss socioeconomic impacts based upon my research and per the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And I am speaking about human trafficking because that is a very prevalent issue right now due to COVID-19, and as well, I am a homeless women's advocate, and I am a humanitarian consultant, among a lot of other things. But today, I am going to dig a little deeper for some information that I researched and gathered. I'm going to be reading off my notes, so I'm going to be looking to the right. And what I do, I try to put this in modern day 21st century format to bring it all together of what the current events are relating to human trafficking. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to put my glasses on. And I hope everyone is having a blessed day or night. And thank everybody for joining. And please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And we're going to dig right in. Okay, guys, here we go. And this is just some information that I gathered, guys. So, just bear with me here. We're going to be talking about how a lot of women and children were exploited during COVID-19. A lot of people were hit hard during COVID-19. So, we're going to, discuss how a lot of women and children were human trafficked during that time, based, on the devastating experiencing the experiences that they were experiencing. As COVID-19 caused, of course, we know a global economic downturn, it increased the number of individuals that were vulnerable to human trafficking. Traffickers adapted their existing tactics to take advantage of the unique circumstances of the pandemic. I can't even talk. I'm sorry, y'all. This is like my third video. But as well, on this information that I am discussing with you guys, this is directly from the U.S. Secretary of State office. And then I have some more other information I'll be discussing a little later. So we're talking about traffickers adapted their existing tactics to take advantage of the unique circumstances of the pandemic. Human traffickers targeted the growing number of people unable to mitigate, adapt to, or build resilience against the worsening economic and social effects. They also exploited situations where screening and identification of victims became even more difficult. This included individuals confined to their homes or workplaces, households in dire need of financial support, and workers in the informal sector. And that is correct because, homelessness increased. As a homeless women's advocate, I saw homelessness increase dramatically during COVID-19 and still currently now. Because a lot of people were put in, dire situations where they could not pay their rent. They, couldn't buy food for their children. So, couldn't pay their utility bills. And, they lost their jobs or, couldn't go to work. Because I know myself personally, I had to, stop working because, because of prior medical conditions that I had, I was more susceptible to getting COVID-19. And, still to this day, and really with African Americans and, us, some older ones, we were, at risk of getting, COVID-19. So, we kind of had to sit back a little while, and still right now it's still dangerous with all these variants that they say that are coming out now. So we really have to be mindful of our health and who we are around. So these are putting especially women in, precarious situations where, how are they going to survive? What are they going to do? But I was, fortunate enough, that, I worked hard. So I was, able to sustain, myself. But a lot of women did not have, that to sustain themselves, especially if they had small children. So they were being put in these situations, you know you have to do what you have to do to survive, and it's really sad. um and then they didn't have financial support to survive. So it was really detrimental to a lot of women and children during COVID-19, and this is why they were susceptible to human trafficking. And it also states traffickers targeted families experiencing financial difficulties and offered false promises and fraudulent job offers to recruit their children, while other families exploited or sold their children to traffickers to financially support themselves. Business owners and landlords pressured individuals to take out loans in exchange for cheap labor or commercial sexual exploitation. And I actually talked about this yesterday. I knew a young woman that she found me online, and she reached out to me, and she was being sexually exploited by her landlord. And, and a lot of the landlords, even up until now, these landlords are really putting pressure, on people that got behind. They're giving them, threatening eviction letters, threatening to, do take legal action towards people. And the economy hasn't even gotten back right yet. So these landlords, understand that they have, their mortgages to pay. That's understandable. But they are really like putting pressure, since they lifted the eviction moratorium. These landlords are really, people are stressing out right now because, a lot of people got behind on their rent. And a lot of people also aren't making what they used to make, or they're just going back to work. And these landlords are not giving them an opportunity to, get themselves back, rehabilitated, so they can, get back on track. And right now, this is a, huge problem, because I actually know a lot of people that have went through that. Even an elderly uh, lady that I know, she's going through the same thing. And I saw this lady, and she and I, she was already sick, and she went down to maybe, she used to be, very, heavy set, and she now looks, she lost an extreme amount of weight. And because of the stress and worry that she's going to be put out in the street and she has nowhere to go. And there's a lot of families like this, and a lot of single parent mothers that are experiencing this right now. So the pandemic really hurt a lot of people, and specifically single parent mothers who have children, and even their children have been impacted, because their children really couldn't work as well, because of the pandemic. And even still, these your children are trying to get back on track, and get back to working, so they can get their lives back going. And all of this takes time. And so a lot of people aren't comprehending this, because there's being pressure put on people. No, you pay, you do. And people are just trying to regain some sense of normalcy back in their lives, and that takes time. So I understand how these women that were human trafficked during COVID-19, how they feel, because like I said, I read, I spoke with several of them. Okay. And then people, if landlords were, we're going to talk about the loans, if landlords were pressuring people to go get loans, now they have to pay that loan back. Now they have to pay the rent, they have to pay utilities, they have to provide food for their children. They have to you know have car payments, car insurance. You know, people just don't have those means anymore, and it's really impacting the not only single women and parents, I mean children, but parents in general. It's impacting the whole household. And so there needs to be some type of understanding right now, due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the devastation it put on a lot of households. So we're going to keep going here. Additionally, traffickers sought to re exploit survivors who became financially unstable and vulnerable to re victimization. And of course, yeah, a lot of them that were, probably getting help. Because actually, I had spoken to like a couple nonprofits during COVID-19, and they were like, "We're losing our funding and we can't help." We have, I think they had like a 30 to 40 families that they were helping, and said we can no longer help those people because they were losing their funding. So, that was a big problem too. So then, what will mother do, to provide for her children? She'll go right back into, sex trafficking or human, getting sold off to a handler, or going into prostitution. So mothers were doing what they had to do. So this is how they get re caught up back into being human trafficking because of situations as such. And there's some examples. I have like two examples here. This is in India. In India and Nepal, young girls from poor and rural areas were often expected to leave school to help support their families during the economic hardships. Some were forced into marriage in exchange for money, while others were forced to work to supplement lost income. And that, and I heard of that as well. I spoke with the doctor, and she was telling me that that actually was happening in Jamaica. That the children weren't going to school, and then they had nowhere to go, so they were actually joining gangs. And of course, the little girls were being human trafficked or doing, sold to, whoever, so their family could have money to survive. So these things are actually occurring, and nobody's talking about these things that are actually happening. And and it's ruining a whole generation of children, and it's ruining the foundation of education that these children need to progress and advance in life. And for parents, I just really can't understand this. For any parent to sell their child, um, in my eyes, they shouldn't have never been given the opportunity to have a child. If you can just sell your child and give it to a human trafficker to harm your child, you should not have been able to have a child. Okay, you should not be able ever to reproduce a child, because no loving mother or father would ever, ever, ever sell their child. Never. No matter what circumstances, they would find a way to make it with their children. Even, sadly, like a lot of mothers have done, they will go sell themselves before they sell their child. And, and unfortunately, this is happening, that a lot of parents in these third world countries think it's okay to sell their children, and or marry their children off when they're not even fully developed as an adult. You sell your children to another adult. They're children. And I don't think in this day and age, I really don't think people understand what the term children mean. They really don't. I think there's a lot of people that are really mixed up between a child and an adult. That I just don't understand. Because I grew up as a child. I was able to live my childhood. You know, good, bad, or indifferent. I was still able to live my childhood, and a lot of us were able to live our childhood. And to think that children are being actually sold and married at young ages, because some third world countries believe in marrying children at 6, 8, whatever, 14. And and they think it's okay. That is not okay. That is a child. Let that child grow up to become an adult. Okay, let that child develop properly. So, it's just very sad to hear things, such as I just spoke about. Then the next one, it says reports from the United States, the United Kingdom, and Uruguay illustrate that landlords force their tenants, often women, we're just talking about this, to have sex with them when the tenant couldn't pay the rent. That's exactly what is happening. Did happen currently now. It's still happening. I can tell you guys, it's still happening because a lot of women still can't pay their rent, and they have nowhere to go because I know for a fact that a lot of resources have been tapped out. A lot of resources because a lot of people are hurting, and a lot of resources, are just not available anymore to a lot of women. And these women are being, they have to do things that they don't want to do for themselves and for their children. And it's very sad because now you have a lost soul and you have a lost life, because that woman, she's going to be beat on. She's going to be, some of these men, you don't know how many partners they are forcing these women to be with in one day. Could you imagine, as a woman, if you are being human trafficked and someone, man, comes to you and tells you that, okay, I have 50 men lined up for you, and you have to do them every hour on the hour, or two every, however they pan it out. Could you imagine as a woman? And then not only a woman, could you imagine a child? That child is ruined for the rest of their lives. They're not, their mental health is just going to be just disintegrated. And a lot of people aren't understanding this because it also impacts women and children's psyche. Okay, and then they wonder why there's a lot of mental illness, because people are getting desperate and doing things that they shouldn't have to do. And and it really irritates me because there's a lot of millionaires out here. There's a lot of millionaires, and they they don't care. They don't care. They start these movements and they say, "Oh, we're going to help. We're going to do this," and they don't do nothing. Okay, they have the funding, they have the finances, they have everything, they have the network, they have everything to help people. And they say, "Oh, we love women," or all this feminist movement and all of this, and they don't do nothing to help. A lot of these, entertainers, NBA players, NFL players. I mean, you name it. All these CEOs and these business owners, they have millions and millions of dollars, but do you think they pay it back to society, to those who are in need? No, they don't. So, it just really irritates my soul, because you can help save a life. You can help save a child, several children, several women. You could put your money where it will be deserving, to help women and to help children not to be put in these type of situations, okay, for their whole life to be destroyed. People do not have love for humanity anymore. They don't have loyalty to humanity because they don't understand that some people are doing what they have to do to survive, and for their children, to feed their children and to keep a roof over their children's head. And some just they don't care. They blame the person, is what they do, instead of you know helping and getting to know that person and finding out why they're in that situation. So there's a lot of things that I could talk about, but I'm going to go on to the next thing. uh the next part, I got this information from, it was from the Maryland Coordination and Analysis Center. The The previous information was from the Secretary of State. This is from the Maryland Coordination and Analysis Center, where they, monitor human trafficking around the world. They they say it's estimated 40.3 million victims are trapped in modern day slavery. And I tell you, this is a big thing for me, because of uh, being African American. Well, I'm African American and as well Native American. I'm too, but both of those you know went through slavery basically, and or that the Native Americans, more their land was stolen, and then African Americans, you know they went through a very horrific situation. My great ancestors went through a very horrific situation, being beat, being hung, um, being cooking and cleaning and working in the fields, and no one cared. No one cared. Until this day, there's a lot of people that just don't want to talk about it. They don't want to be held accountable for this happening. Slavery is slavery, no matter how do you look at it. They work for free. Slavery is basically working for free. You are working for someone for their advancement, not for your advancement. You're working for free and you have no other choice. Or you will be beaten or you would die, one of the two, or something would happen to your family. So it's very sad that we have modern day slavery. And a lot of these, and I actually thought about this too as well, because I'm in the business arena, and a lot of people, because I do a lot of work by myself, because they're like, well, you can get on Fiverr and you can get someone from another country and you can pay them like $2 an hour or $1 an hour and they'll do the work for you. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't even have the heart to do that, because I know I would not want to be it, $2, even though it might be a lot of money for them. But I said, that's awful. That's slavery to me, because my ancestors worked for those. That's pennies. That's crumbs. Those people deserve more than that. They deserve a fair income, just like everyone else. Everyone deserves a fair income so they can be fully supportive of their families. Because I also was in a situation one time. I want to talk about this. And I actually confronted it. I confronted both of them because I was like, this is insanity. I went on a cruise. And on this cruise ship, I noticed this. I think I got on the cruise like maybe 8 something in the morning. This is my own personal experience, guys. I got on this cruise ship about 8 something in the morning. And then throughout the day, I was doing other things. And then there was like a show at night, and the show, I think the show didn't end till like 12, well, about 1 o'clock in the morning. And then we were on to get something to eat. And so when I went to go get something to eat, I seen the same girl that I saw at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I asked her, I said, have you had, I said, have you had any time off? And she was from another country. I said, have you had any time off? And she says, no, I had maybe a 20-minute break. I said, you have been here since 8 o'clock this morning. It is 1 o'clock at night, and you only have a 20-minute break. I said, that is against the labor law. I said, that is against the law. Okay. I said, you deserve, you work that long. You deserve longer breaks and a long lunch break. I said, this is slavery. I said, they are slavering you, treating you like a slave. And I was very upset at that point. I was like, oh my God. And then I went to, then she told me, and I asked her, I says, well, why are you here? And she told me, and this is verbatim what she said. And I actually have this information on my blog. If you guys, want to go back, go. check it out, because when I after I got off the cruise ship, this was like a couple of years ago, and it's on my blog, consumer2savelives.wordpress.com. I mean, .wordpress.com. So anyway, so I says, well, why are you doing this? And she said that she was told if she works on that cruise ship, that she would get a visa to America. And I said, what? I said, who told you that? And she said it's for her family. And I said, this is insanity. I said, this is slavery. This is slavery. So then after that, I met another gentleman. He worked in the casino part of the cruise ship. And he worked in the casino part of the cruise ship. And I actually was talking to him. I don't know how I got to talking to him, but I got talking to him, because I'm very friendly. People from all around the world love me. So, people talk to me. So, anyways, I got to talking to him, and same thing. He was told if he works on the cruise ship in the casino, basically, with no income, that he would get a visa to the United States. And I'm like, well, who told you that? I said, I said that this is not right. So anyway, you guys, I, after the cruise, I'm a researcher. So after the cruise, I found out who owned the ship and where the ship came from and all of this stuff. These were Germans. This was a German cruise ship that was doing this to these people. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? I said, how can Germany a German cruise line, and I forget what cruise line it was. I can't remember off the top of my head what cruise line it was, but I was like, how can Germany promise people from another country a visa to the United States? I said, if anything, they should have been promising a visa to Germany, not the United States. So they were lying to these people and making them work for free. And so I was like, okay, something. I wrote about it on my blog because I was just purely floored. Then I met, I saw stowaways, and I've experienced a lot of stuff, you guys. I have experienced a lot of stuff that I've seen. Okay, but I write about it on my blog. Okay, so you might want to go check out my blog. So this is what they do. They lie to these people to get them to work for free, and it's modern day slavery. So I truly understand what they're speaking of. So okay, so we're going to go on. According to the International Labor Organization, 1 in 4 of those victims are children. In addition, victims' rights groups say that human trafficking across the United States and around the world rose during the COVID-19 pandemic. And yes, it did. The U.S. National Human Trafficking Hotline, which only collects information from its hotline, has seen growth year over year in human trafficking situations, recording a 5% increase in reported cases between 2018 and 2019. That's a lot. 5%. It's probably a lot more than that, because I was talking about this yesterday. You don't really know. Okay, because a lot of them, are threatened. Okay, if you do this, you die. Period. A lot of them, are vulnerable. They don't have any strength because they don't feed them right. They're on drugs. So who are they going to call? Where are they going to run to? And then a lot of them actually, I was watching a movie. They lock them. They lock them in the. They lock them in rooms. They lock them in the house. The house is gated. And they lock them in the rooms at night. That there's no windows. So where are they going to go? Where they're trapped. So that 5% is probably substantially more. But they try to get the best statistics at that they can. But it's probably substantially more. Also says, but the numbers are difficult to get, like I said, get a handle on due to the nature of human trafficking. Many crimes are never prosecuted, let alone reported. Of course not. And, this is a problem. This is, a big problem. People that have their hands in any type of human trafficking of individuals, bouncing them around from place to place to place to place, but, you really can't say, for adults, that are doing this freely, you can't really say nothing to them because they're adults. When they're 18 and up, there's nothing that you can really say or do because, if they're in the doing it, and agree to it, there's really nothing you can do. But there's a large number that do not agree with it. If you speak out, you will be killed. You are threatened to be killed or blackballed, or they will ruin your life or ruin your family's life. So, it's very sad in this day and age if you know something. Well, they say if you know something, say something, but sometimes you can't say something because they will kill you. And it's very unfortunate. And this is probably why a lot of young girls and children don't speak out. And and it's very sad that we're in this day and age that you can't even speak out to anybody for fear of getting killed, losing your life. And because there's so many evil people out here, and the good people, they're trying their best to help those that they can help, those that can speak out, and to the people that can help them. But then sometimes their hands are tied because of the situations are very dangerous, because like I was watching on a TV show about human trafficking. These people have guns. Okay, they have guns, and then they were killing the girls that were, trying to run away, or the girls that were, just refusing to do what they say. They would kill the girls. They would shoot them up with something and kill them. And then they even have doctors involved. The doctors were involved as well, giving, these human traffickers the necessary drugs to, subdue keep them in a basically a comatose state, so they couldn't speak out and they just lay there, just like zombie, just lay there, and there's nothing that they can do. Why, you know their handlers, had all these people coming in their room, in and out of their room, and there's nothing that she can do because she's drugged up so bad. And then they only feed them. And then you also have the man, you have men and women that are in this together. They're doing this all together. And it's very sad. It's a very sad situation. It says countries or states reporting zero or low amounts of human trafficking offenses, for example, are merely reflecting data reported by local law enforcement or justice systems. And I can tell you for a fact, because I know a lot of things go to the judicial system. I've made reports, and other people have made reports to the Department of Justice, to the Secret Service, to the Secretary of State, the U.S. Department uh, of Government Accountability. I mean, there's so many reports in the judicial database, even the Inspector General's office for Social Security, because that's a whole nother fraudulent system. Social Security, that's a whole nother ball game to deal with. But a lot of these reports, and even the FDA, there's been reports of FDA, and and people are complaining, they're speaking out, and everything gets ignored. Everything is ignored. I mean, there's even housing fraud. There's a lot of housing fraud. So to me, I just found out the other day. I'm like, how is that possible? There's people coming from foreign countries and buying properties in the United States, but they don't even live in the United States. So that means that they're getting money from properties in the United States, and that money is going directly back to their country. I don't understand that. I really don't understand that, because Americans, we could never do that. We could never go buy a house in another country and get money off that house in that country and send it back to United States. We could never do that. So I really don't understand. And they are really taking advantage of the people. They have that dictatorship type of mentality. A lot of these people coming to buy properties in the United States, and they're bringing that dictatorship type of mentality to to the United States, which is impacting a lot of American citizens, which, it should not be. And they are, bullying a lot of the Americans, because I can tell you about a whole lot of bullying stuff that I personally went through myself. And they only want their people in their properties, I'm talking about rental properties, even houses. They only want their people to bring their people over to the United States, and they will push out the American people or bully them so much that they want to move. And this is the type of dictatorship that is going on with a lot of housing, and there's a lot of fraud. They don't know where the money is going to. They're not paying the correct taxes. So, there's a lot of things going on that a lot of the government agencies, a lot of these things were reported and they just ignored them. So I can understand about all the, I'm sure a lot of reports about human trafficking, and nothing is being reported. I mean, it's being reported, but it's not getting to the right people that are the good people that care about humanity, that care for, people that want to do the right thing by law, and to preserve our country, the United States of America. Because if we continue to let this continue to happen, we're not going to have a country. And it's very sad. But let me go on to human trafficking. Okay, I'm going to be discussing a lot of things that I know you guys, so you're going to have to bear with me. Aside from a moral obligation to seek out and report possible criminal behaviors such as human trafficking, organizations in any sector may face repercussions related to human trafficking, such as reputational damage, legal damage, and supply chain damage, according to Lindsay Robertson, director of the legal engagement at the Human Trafficking Institute, and that is correct. Yeah, because a lot of companies that are allowing these, human traffickers, or people to work for free labor, because they know they have no identification, or no one knows them, or they're hard on their luck, you know, and then the government comes in and finds out, then that company it, they should be liable, because you should be checking people, you know, and you shouldn't, you should have proper identification. Should have, like American have social security card, or have a visa. You can't use people for your own benefit because you want to put more money in your pocket. That's just not right. That's a violation of human rights. You can't do that. Human Trafficking Institute works all over the world to identify best practices for the prosecution of trafficking crimes, punish human trafficking data, and help other countries identify and prosecute trafficking crimes, which they should. Anybody that has their hand in human trafficking, like we talked about yesterday and the day before, these social media websites, you're part of the problem. Okay, anybody that is doing this, and you're part of the problem. Um, because I know at one situation, I actually met a young lady. I'm not going to get into detail, but she came over to the United States. She had a cousin that had a restaurant. I'm not going to mention what country she was from, but she was from another country. And she was explaining to me that she come over to the United States. She got, I don't know if got what kind of visa she had gotten, but she came over to the United States, started working in her cousin's restaurant, and she was working long enough to find her an American husband so she can become an American citizen. So this happens a lot, but they would move her from restaurant to restaurant. So this kind of happens, and that's like a form of you know, manipulating the system. And this would happen to a lot of these girls that come from these third world countries, that they are brought over here and they're told one thing, and then it ended up being something different. And they're, next thing you know, they're sold into human trafficking. So, these things do occur, because I've ran across situations like this. And I believe all people that are involved in any type of crimes against humanity, because human trafficking, that's crimes against humanity. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. and human rights. Okay, because no human being has the right to do anything criminally against another human being. That is the same as them. Okay, because all human beings are the same. We, get up and lay down the same way. We have nose, eyes, ears, hands. We're all human beings, and it's a violation of human rights. And the United Nations talks about Universal Declaration of Human Rights, but they're not even following their own laws. Okay, because human rights have been around since I think 500 BC. Eleanor Roosevelt was an advocate of human rights. Why aren't these laws being adhered to? These are laws, these are binding laws, and no one is adhering to them. Okay, and then as well, crimes against humanity. Okay, because harming another human being for, I don't care if it's for your sexual purposes or whatever purposes, and especially against children, that is crimes against humanity, and everyone that involved should be held accountable. Okay, no one should get a free pass for harming a woman or harming a child against their will. Okay, no one. It is crimes against humanity and a violation of human rights. Frontline workers in any industry can certainly be briefed and trained on signs of trafficking, Robertson said. And Robertson was the director of legal engagement at Human Trafficking Institute. Robertson said, "You have to, you have to excuse me. That's my doggy." Um, Robertson said, uh, "But security leaders or those leaders within the enterprise that deal with risk and resilience, labor and safety, should also be looking at other areas to mitigate human trafficking and potential effects on business owners," she said. And yes, they should have things in place to make sure that the women, and it shouldn't be any children there working in at a company, but it should be things in place for women and even men, because these days LGBTQ men are being exploited as well. So it's not just women. So there should be things in place, security things in place, questions in place, to make sure that there's they are being protected against being sold into human trafficking or working for be for free, which is slavery. Okay, there should be things put in place, and taking a proactive approach to examining potential risks and liabilities within the supply chain in regards to human rights violations. Exactly what I said. There's a lot of this is just human rights violations. And if you guys have the chance, I did a series of all the human rights articles 1 through 30. If you have a chance, or you can just Google human rights, it's all right there. It's not a hard thing to find, and a lot of people they're just ignoring human rights, and I don't understand why make something that's just like ignoring the Constitution, ignoring the Bill of Rights, ignoring the Declaration of Independence, just ignoring those things. Just, oh, so what, they're there, we don't have to abide by them. Well, why make them? Okay, these are laws for humanity. And we need to really start adhering to these laws. And we need to really start implementing these laws and enforcing them a lot better. Okay, because a lot of people are being harmed, and no one is standing up for these people. And this is why I started the Humanitarian Transformation Network, to start standing up for people and start trying to heal society from all of these things that are occurring that no one wants to talk about. And everybody wants to keep hidden because of money, power, control, greed, whatever, self-preservation, I don't know, whatever they're thinking they're doing. And it's a crime. Okay. You have no right to harm another human being. Who do you think you are? You are not God or whatever higher power that you choose. You have no right. You were born into this world just like everyone else. You are going to die just like everyone else. You are no better than the next person just because you have some, you think because you got a PhD or you got some type of higher degree or you're a millionaire or a billionaire. Oh, I can treat people any way I want to because I have X, Y, and Z. No, you cannot. You are still a human being. You didn't come out with those billions and billions of dollars. You didn't come out of your mother's womb with a PhD and all your degrees lined up against the wall. You did not come out of your mother's womb like that. You came out as a human being. And when you die, you cannot take any of those PhDs and all those high degrees with you. And when you die, you cannot take your billions and billions and billions of dollars with you. You cannot. It's all going to be dispersed or gone. So why do you think that you can do whatever you want to do to human beings? You cannot. Okay, you have no control over another human being's life. The only human being control that you need to have is over your own life, not somebody else. Okay, and because that's my pet peeve also, because people think they can control people. They can tell people what to do. They can tell people what to say. Who are you to control people, to go against because they want you to speak how they want you to speak, not how you want to speak from your heart, from your own intelligence. They want to control you. No, you say this, no, you say that. Who are you to control another human being? You are no different than anyone else. We all are made uniquely different, just different colors. Okay, and that's how the universe wanted us to be, different colors. Okay, different differences about our each human being that is uniquely beautiful, because we are all beautiful. And for people to think that they can control other human beings is just beyond me. And to me, it's a sin to humanity, and it's against every human right. And I bet Eleanor Roosevelt, bless her, I bet she's flipping in her grave looking at this. Okay, because she was an advocate. She was an advocate for human rights. And I bet she's flipping in her grave. She's like, oh my goodness, we got all this human trafficking going on. But she knew about slavery, Um, even Abe Lincoln, that they're probably just flipping in their grave, all of this stuff that is going on. And it really needs to be addressed, and there needs to be more awareness. So I'm doing my part, guys. Okay. So let me see the last part here. Taking a proactive approach to examine potential risks and liabilities with this, so it can help avoid the look of the impropriety that can cause consumers and others to place judgment on organizations, trafficking, and inflict irreversible reputational damage. And that's actually currently now with because I wholeheartedly agree with this. That's like currently now with these governments that are mandating people to these companies. Okay, your workers must get the vaccine. Your workers must do this. Excuse me. Okay, people can live their life how they want to live. Other human beings, I don't care, government, whoever, I don't care who it is, if people don't want to get the vaccine, let them not have to get the vaccine. If they want to die, they die. Who cares? That's their life. It's not your life. If people want to get the, vaccine and live, let them get the vaccine and live. It's their discretion. You can't force anybody to do anything. It's against the human Declaration of Human Rights. Look it up. You cannot force companies, and you cannot force people to do anything. It's against the Declaration of Human Rights. And this is why I believe now there's a lot of people speaking up about human rights, because you have a right as a human being. And a lot of people don't understand that they have human rights. You have these rights, legally binding laws that have been put in place, All you have to do is Google human rights. It's everywhere. Okay? They're everywhere, human rights. People are getting, confused because they want to keep this little part hidden from you. You have rights. Okay, no one control your life. That's just like, the abortion issue. Hey, if they want to have abortion, let them. If the ones that don't, let them don't. It's up to you. It's your life. But, enough is enough. Shh. Human rights is a right that you have. And human trafficking is crimes against humanity. No matter how you slice it, dice it, no matter what law you try to put here, put there, human trafficking is crimes against humanity. And I don't care how powerful, how much money that they have, if you committed any type or were involved in any type of human trafficking of a human being, you have committed a crime against humanity because that person is a human being. Okay? So, with that said, I hope you guys liked my version today of human trafficking, my series. I'm going to be speaking about more tomorrow as well. Yeah, as you guys can tell, I am very passionate because I know so much stuff that has been going on. So I am very passionate about what I do and what I speak about because I know by me speaking out, I can help save lives, other human beings, and I can put a lot of things in perspective. Okay, for a lot of people. So thank you guys. I appreciate it so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for joining the Humanitarian Transformation Network by Candace. And have a blessed and beautiful day or night wherever you reside. And I will see you guys tomorrow.